What is a class in Python?
A class is a blueprint for creating objects. It defines attributes and methods that the objects created from the class will have. What are Python packages?
Python packages are directories containing Python modules. They allow you to organize your code into reusable modules. You can use packages by importing them using the import keyword. Explain the difference between return and print in Python functions.
Return is used in functions to send a value back to the caller. Print is a built-in function for displaying content on the console.
What are the basic data types in Python?
Python has several built-in data types, including int, float, string, list, tuple, and dictionary. Explain the concept of an abstract class in Python.
An abstract class is a class that cannot be instantiated and typically contains abstract methods, which are methods without an implementation. Subclasses must provide implementations for these abstract methods.
What is the purpose of a for loop in Python?
A for loop in Python is used to iterate over a sequence, such as a list, tuple, string, or range, and perform operations for each element in the sequence.
What is polymorphism in Python?
Polymorphism means the ability to take multiple forms, so, for instance, if the parent class has a method named ABC, then the child class also can have a method with the same name ABC, having its own parameters and variables. Python allows polymorphism.
Define encapsulation in Python.
Encapsulation means binding the code and the data together. A Python class is an example of encapsulation.
What is the purpose of the if statement in Python?
The if statement is used for conditional execution of code. It allows you to execute a block of code only if a specified condition is true.
Explain the concept of decorators in Python.
Decorators are functions that modify the behavior of other functions or methods without changing their code, typically by wrapping them inside another function. Explain the concept of inheritance in Python.
Inheritance is a mechanism where a new class inherits properties and behavior from an existing class. It promotes code reuse and allows the creation of a hierarchy of classes.
What is polymorphism in Python?
Polymorphism allows objects to be treated as instances of their parent class rather than their actual class. It allows a single interface to represent different types of objects.
Explain the concepts of encapsulation in Python.
Encapsulation is the bundling of data and the methods that operate on the data into a single unit known as a class. In Python, encapsulation is achieved by using classes.
Explain the concept of method overriding in Python.
Method overriding occurs when a subclass provides a specific implementation for a method that is already defined in its superclass. It allows a subclass to provide a specialized version of a method. Explain the use of the elif statement in Python.
The elif statement is used to check multiple conditions after the initial if statement. It is short form of else if. Explain the concept of method overloading in Python.
Method overloading in Python is the ability to define multiple methods with the same name but different parameter types or number of parameters. What is a dictionary in Python, and how is it different from other data types?
A dictionary is an unordered collection of key-value pairs. It is mutable and allows fast retrieval of values based on keys. Unlike lists and tuples, dictionaries use keys for indexing, providing efficient data retrieval.
Explain the concept of a metaclass in Python.
A metaclass is a class of a class, responsible for defining how a class behaves. It allows customization of class creation, example shown below.
Explain the difference between local and global variables in Python.
Local variables are defined within a function and are only accessible inside that function, whereas global variables are defined outside functions and can be accessed throughout the program.
What is a namespace in Python?
A namespace is a naming system used to make sure that names are unique to avoid naming conflicts.
What is a decorator in Python?
A decorator is a function that can modify the behavior of another function or method. It is often used to add functionality to functions or methods dynamically.
What is a lambda function in Python?
A lambda function, also known as an anonymous function, is a small, unnamed function, defined using the lambda keyword. It is often used for short, simple operations and can take multiple arguments but can only have one expression.
How can you handle memory management and optimization in Python?
In Python, memory management is automatic due to the presence of a garbage collector. However, you can optimize memory usage by closing files properly, using generators instead of lists, and being cautious with recursive functions to avoid excessive memory consumption.
How do you handle exceptions in Python?
Exceptions can be handled using try, except, and optionally finally blocks. If an exception occurs in the try block, the code in the except block is executed.
Why Python?
Python works on different platforms like Windows, Mac, Linux, Raspberry Pi, etc. It has a simple syntax similar to the English language. Python has syntax that allows developers to write programs with fewer lines than some other programming languages. It runs on an interpreter system, meaning that code can be executed as soon as it is written. This means that prototyping can be very quick. Python can be treated in a procedural way, an object-oriented way, or a functional way.
Explain the difference between lists and tuples in Python.
Lists are mutable, meaning their elements can be modified after creation. Tuples are immutable, and their elements cannot be changed once defined.
Explain Python identifiers.
Identifiers are the name given to variables, classes, methods, etc. For example, language equals Python. Here, language is a variable or an identifier which holds the value Python. We cannot use keywords as variable names as they are reserved names that are built into Python.
What is a generator in Python?
A generator is a function that produces a sequence of values lazily, one at a time, rather than storing them all in memory at once like a list. Generators use yield keyword to produce values.
What is the global interpreter lock?
The global interpreter lock is a mutex that protects access to Python objects, preventing multiple native threads from executing Python bytecodes simultaneously. This can limit the concurrency in Python for multi-threaded programs.
Explain list comprehension in Python.
List comprehension is a concise way to create lists in Python by applying an expression to each item in an iterable, example a list or a range, and optionally filtering the items based on a condition.
Explain the global and local scope in Python.
Global scope refers to the outermost scope, where global variables are defined and can be accessed from any part of the code. Local scope is the inner scope, typically within functions, where variables are only accessible within that function. What is object-oriented programming?
Object-oriented programming is a programming paradigm that uses objects, which are instances of classes, to design and organize code. It revolves around the concepts of encapsulation, inheritance, and polymorphism.
What is Python?
Python is a popular programming language. It was created by Guido van Rossum and released in 1991. It is used for web development, software development, mathematics, and system scripting. Explain the difference between a list and a tuple in Python.
Lists are mutable, meaning you can change their contents, while tuples are immutable, meaning their elements cannot be changed after creation. Explain recursion in Python.
Recursion is a technique where a function calls itself. It's useful for solving problems that can be broken down into smaller, similar subproblems.
What is a tuple in Python?
A tuple is an immutable sequence of elements, often used to group related data, defined using parentheses, like 1, 2, 3.
What is a module in Python?
A module is a file containing Python code. It can define functions, classes, and variables that can be reused in other Python scripts using import. Define data abstraction in Python.
Data abstraction provides only the required details and hides the implementation from the world. It can be achieved in Python by using interfaces and abstract classes.
What is a Lambda function?
A Lambda function is an anonymous function. This function can have any number of parameters but can have just one statement. Example given below.
Explain list comprehension in Python.
List comprehension is a concise way to create lists in Python. It consists of square brackets containing an expression followed by a for clause, then 0 or more for or if clauses, example shown below.
What are the key features of Python?
Python is a high-level interpreted and general-purpose programming language. Some of its key features include easy-to-read syntax, dynamically typed, easy to learn for beginners, object-oriented, procedural, and functional programming paradigms, extensive standard library, cross-platform compatibility, strong community support.
What are Python variables?
Variables in Python are used to store data values. They are containers for storing values like numbers, strings, lists, etc. In Python, variables are created when you assign a value to them. For example, x equals 5, name equals John. Today's topic is Python operators. Operators are used to perform operations on variables and values. In the example below, we use the operator to add together two values. Let's discuss its types. Python divides the operators in the following groups. First one is arithmetic operators. Arithmetic operators are used with numeric values to perform common mathematical operations. It includes addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, etc. Second one is assignment operators. Assignment operators are used to assign values to variables. It performs following operations. Next one is comparison operators. Comparison operators are used to compare two values. Next is logical operators. Logical operators are used to combine conditional statements. Last one is bitwise operators. Bitwise operators are used to compare numbers. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more content.
Which of the following is not a core data type in Python programming? The correct answer is option C. Class is a user-defined data type.
Which of the following types of loops are not supported in Python? The correct answer is option C. Do-while loops are not explicitly a part of the Python language.
Which of these data types does Python not natively support? The correct answer will be option C. Arrays are not built into Python and require modules like array or numpy. What is the maximum possible length of an identifier? The correct answer will be option D. The maximum possible length of an identifier is not defined in the Python language. It can be of any number. Which of the following is a mutable data type in Python? The right answer will be option C. Lists in Python are mutable, meaning they can be changed after creation. How do you create a function in Python?
To create a function in Python, use the def keyword followed by the function name and parentheses containing any input parameters. Example shown below.